Life gonna test you in ways you can't always see coming. Some battles ain't fought in the streets or at your job or with other people. They fought inside you, between who you are and who you want to be. Between what you feel and what you know is right, between your faith and your flesh. See, your flesh, that's your cravings, your pride, your anger, your ego, but your faith, that's your vision, your discipline, your higher self. Every day, they pulling at you from opposite sides, and how you move in that moment, that defines the direction your life gonna take. Let's break it down. Life gonna test you in ways you can't always see coming. Some battles ain't fought in the streets or at your job or with other people. They fought inside you, between who you are and who you want to be, between what you feel and what you know is right, between your faith and your flesh. See, your flesh, that's your cravings, your pride, your anger, your ego. But your faith, that's your vision, your discipline, your higher self. Every day they pulling at you from opposite sides, and how you move in that moment, that defines the direction your life gonna take. Let's break it down. Before you can ever win the battle between who you are and who you're becoming, you gotta understand where the fight is happening. And it ain't out there, it's in here. The real war ain't between you and your haters, your environment, or your situation. It's between a faith and your flesh. That's the most silent, most dangerous fight a person can face, because nobody sees it but you. The outside world only sees the results, the wins or the mistakes. But inside, you know what's pulling at you. You can feel that tension between what's easy and what's right, between comfort and calling. Your faith, that's the voice that tells you to stay down when everything around you says give up. It's that whisper that says, keep going. I know it don't look like it yet, but it's working in your favor. It's vision without proof. It's believing before you see. It's moving with purpose when everything in your current reality says it's pointless. Then you got your flesh, that loud, impatient, restless part of you that wants satisfaction right now. It's the part that says, man, forget all that waiting. Why grind when you can get it faster? It's the temptation that comes dressed as opportunity. It's the urge to act out when you feel disrespected, to quit when the work gets hard, to chase pleasure instead of peace. The flesh is clever. It don't always look like something evil. Sometimes it looks like the easy way, the shortcut, the fast success. But see, every shortcut costs something long term. Every time you trade patience for convenience, you rob yourself of a layer of strength you could have built. Faith plays the long game, flesh plays for the moment. Faith builds foundations that can hold weight. Flesh builds facades that look good for a second, then crumble under pressure. That's why so many people look solid from the outside, but fall apart when life tests them, because they built with flesh, not faith. Let me tell you something. I've seen this battle play out in real time. I've seen people with talent, vision, and passion lose it all because they couldn't beat their impulses. They let their flesh lead. They let ego run the show. They couldn't wait. And I've seen others, people who had way less on paper, stay down, stay patient, keep their head low, stay focused, and eventually they came up in a way that couldn't be stopped. Because when you move with faith, your wins last. Think about somebody training for a marathon. The flesh says, why run every day? Why push through pain when you could rest? But faith says, I'm not training for today. I'm training for something bigger. So they wake up early, they eat right, they keep going when their legs hurt, they build endurance. And when race day comes, they don't break because their preparation was rooted in faith, not comfort. That's how life works. You can't win spiritual battles using fleshly weapons. You can't fight self-doubt with ego. You can't conquer fear with distraction. You got to stand on something deeper, something the world can't give and the world can't take away. And the wild part is most people don't even realize how often they lose this battle. They blame circumstances, people, or luck. But the truth is, most losses come from within. Every time you choose reaction over reflection, every time you let emotion override wisdom, every time you chase validation instead of purpose, that's your flesh calling the shots. And the thing about the flesh, it'll never be satisfied. The moment you give it what it wants, it just wants more. Faith, though faith brings peace, it don't always bring comfort, but it brings clarity. Faith don't promise easy days, but it gives your struggle meaning. When you start recognizing that voice, that still, quiet reminder that says, hold on, there's more to this than what you see, that's your higher self talking. That's your reminder that you're built for more than impulses and reactions. It's like planting a seed. The flesh looks at the dirt and says, ain't nothing happening. Why waste time watering that? But faith looks at the same dirt and says, the process is working. Just because I can't see, it doesn't mean it ain't growing. And that's what separates those who grow from those who stay stuck. The ones who let faith lead don't quit in the dark. They understand that patience is part of the price. You got to learn to catch yourself when that internal voice starts twisting your focus. The flesh will always have a reason to quit. I'm tired. They don't appreciate me. It's taking too long. But the question is, are you building for now or forever? Because everything built on impulse breaks under pressure. But everything built on principle, that lasts. I remember hearing a story about a young man trying to start a clothing brand. For 2 years, he sold nothing. His friends laughed. His family told him to get a regular job. His flesh told him he was wasting time. But his faith said, keep creating, keep promoting, keep learning. He stayed consistent. Year 3, One of his designs went viral, his business blew up overnight, but what people called overnight was really years of silent faith winning battles behind closed doors. That's what happens when you stop letting your flesh talk you out of your purpose. The world might not clap for you right now, but faith ain't about applause. It's about alignment. It's about being rooted in something that doesn't shift when circumstances do. You'll always have moments when you feel like giving in. You'll have days where faith feels far away and your flesh feels loud. That's okay. It's part of being human. But the key is awareness. You can't fight what you won't face. Once you recognize, this ain't them, this is me battling me, you take your power back. You start making conscious choices instead of emotional ones. You start building from vision instead of reaction. And that's when things change. Not because the world gets easier, but because you get stronger. Faith will have you turning pain into power, losses into lessons, setbacks into setups. The flesh just wants to escape pain. Faith wants to extract purpose from it. That's why one version of you stays stuck and another one evolves. So the next time you're tempted to take the easy way, pause and ask yourself, is this faith speaking or my flesh? One leads to growth. The other leads to regret. The one you feed the most is the one that wins. You can't silence the flesh completely, but you can starve it. Starve it with discipline. Starve it with consistency. Starve it by choosing to see the bigger picture even when you don't feel like it. And while you're starving your flesh, feed your faith with gratitude, with prayer, with patience, with purpose. That's the real battle. And if you can win that one, the world can't beat you. Because once your spirit is aligned, your moves become intentional. You stop chasing quick wins and start creating lasting legacy. You stop reacting to the noise and start listening to the vision. And that's when your life starts transforming from the inside out. The flesh wants now, faith wants forever. Choose forever. Faith alone don't move mountains. Discipline does. You can believe all day. You can speak affirmations, visualize success, pray for the outcome. But if you don't move your feet, if you don't act with consistency, faith becomes just an idea floating in your head. See, a lot of people talk about wanting change. They say they want peace, they want growth, they want freedom. But when it's time to show up, when it's time to sacrifice, that's when the flesh gets loud. The flesh says, tomorrow. The flesh says, you deserve a break. The flesh says, nobody else is working this hard. And before you know it, that dream that once felt alive starts collecting dust. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who do. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, and most times it don't get applause. It's the work nobody sees, the late nights, the early mornings, the moments when it's just you and your purpose. That's where greatness is built. That's where the distance gets created between good and legendary. Think about an athlete during the off season. Their faith is the vision. They see themselves holding that trophy, winning that ring. But the work that connects that image to reality, that's discipline. Every 5 a.m. workout, every stretch, every rep when nobody's watching. That's the bridge. And the thing about bridges is they're built brick by brick. There's no shortcut. You can't pray a bridge into existence. You got to build it through repetition, through self-control, through commitment. When motivation runs out, the flesh don't like that. The flesh wants pleasure now. The flesh says, why not rest today? You earned it. The flesh says, you can double back tomorrow. But discipline talks different. Discipline don't argue with feelings. It just moves. Discipline says, you made a promise to yourself, and that's worth more than how you feel right now. That's why most people never see their full potential. They get inspired but not consistent. Inspiration fades, motivation fades, but discipline becomes part of your DNA. It's a mindset that don't depend on mood. It's doing the work when you don't feel like it and trusting that every small effort compounds into something massive. There's a story about a boxer who was never the fastest or the strongest, but he had discipline like no other. While others trained 3 days a week, he trained 7. While others celebrated, he recovered. While others complained, he adjusted. And when the time came to fight, he was ready, not because he prayed harder, but because he prepared harder. Faith gave him the dream, but discipline gave him the reality. The truth is, discipline is an act of self-respect. It's saying, I'm not going to let my emotions talk me out of my potential, because emotions are temporary, but your purpose is permanent. Every time you let your flesh win, you push your purpose a little further away. Every time you let discipline win, you pull that purpose closer. That's the tug of war that happens every day between the part of you that wants comfort and the part of you that craves evolution. We all get tested. It's easy to stay consistent when everything's going right. The real test is when things fall apart, when your money's tight, when the support disappears, when nobody's watching. That's when discipline shows its true value. It keeps you grounded when your circumstances shake. It reminds you that progress don't stop just because life got rough. You ever notice how some people rise out of the same situations others get stuck in? It's not always talent. It's not always opportunity. It's discipline. It's that ability to keep watering the seed even when nothing seems to be growing. Because the truth is, every small action matters. Every workout, every study session, every page written, every hour spent building your craft, it's all adding up, even if the results don't show yet. Faith tells you, one day I'll make it. Discipline tells you, today I'm putting in the work that gets me there. And if you keep choosing discipline over excuses, one day you look up and the vision that felt impossible is now your reality. That's the beauty of it. The slow grind turns into sudden success. But it was never sudden, it was just unseen consistency finally catching up. Let's be real. We live in a time where distractions are everywhere. The phone, the internet, the noise, the pressure to look successful instead of be successful. And that's where discipline becomes even more powerful, because it's not just about what you do, it's about what you don't do. It's about saying no to what don't align with your vision. It's about controlling your time, your energy, your attention. It's about choosing purpose over popularity, growth over gratification. I once met a man who said, everybody wants freedom, but few are disciplined enough to earn it. That it different, because freedom ain't about doing whatever you want. It's about mastering yourself enough to move how you need to. Discipline gives you that power. It turns chaos into structure. It takes dreams out of your head and puts them in motion. Every person that's ever reached greatness had to battle their flesh with discipline. The artist who records even when they don't feel inspired. The entrepreneur who keeps reinvesting instead of splurging. The parent who sacrifices their comfort to build something better for their kids. That's discipline. That's the real flex. Because success that lasts don't come from hype. It comes from habits. You might not see the results today, but trust me, it's stacking up. The late nights, the lonely mornings, the sacrifices, they're all bricks in that bridge connecting your belief to your breakthrough. The world might not clap for it now, but one day they'll look back and call it dedication. And don't get it twisted. Discipline don't mean perfection. It means persistence. You'll slip. You'll miss days. You'll have moments where you feel like it's not worth it. But what matters is that you get back to it. You realign. You keep that promise you made to yourself alive. Because once you build that muscle of discipline, life starts bending in your favor. You stop being controlled by impulse and start being driven by intention. Your flesh will always look for shortcuts, but discipline reminds you that shortcuts cut more than time. They cut experience. They cut character. They cut strength. The long road builds something solid. It builds you. And when you become the type of person who can trust yourself, who knows you'll show up no matter how you feel, that's a different kind of peace. That's when faith and flesh stop fighting so loud, because discipline becomes the mediator between the two. Faith is the spark, discipline is the grind. Together they turn dreams into something tangible. You gotta train your mind to keep showing up even when the reward isn't instant. You gotta remind yourself that consistency is currency. Every small act of discipline is an investment in the person you're becoming. So yeah, pray for it, visualize it, believe in it, but most importantly, work for it. Because discipline is love in action, love for your future self, love for your purpose, love for the version of you that's waiting on the other side of your excuses. Faith plants the seed, but discipline grows the tree. Without it, your dream stays a dream. With it, your dream becomes your life. We're living in a world that moves at light speed now. Everything's about right now. You want food, you hit a button. You want attention, you post something. You want to feel seen, you refresh your feed and hope for likes. We got so used to instant results that we forgot how to build. We forgot that anything real takes time. That's the trap of this era. It convinces you that fast means successful, when in reality, fast just means fragile, because anything that comes quick usually leaves just as quick. The truth is, real growth can't be rushed. You can't skip steps and expect the structure to stand strong. You can't plant a seed today and demand fruit tomorrow. That's not how life works. Every seed needs seasons. Seasons of waiting, of watering, of fighting through storms before it blossoms. The flesh hates that process because the flesh wants results, applause, proof. But faith knows that timing is everything. Faith teaches patience. Flesh teaches pressure. And every time you let pressure win, you end up trading long-term peace for short-term pleasure. See, the world celebrates the visible, the end result, the success story, the glow up, but it don't celebrate the waiting season, the sacrifice, the quiet grind. Nobody posts about patience because patience don't look exciting. It looks like you're being left behind. But that's where the real power is built, in that silent space where you keep going without getting anything in return yet. I've seen people destroy blessings that were meant for them because they couldn't wait. They chased instant gratification, fast money, fast fame, fast love, and ended up empty. They thought shortcuts would get them there quicker, but all shortcuts do is cut off the lessons that would have prepared you to handle the blessing. A person who rushes the process ends up collapsing under the very thing they prayed for. That's why the waiting is necessary, not to punish you, but to prepare you. There's an old saying that patience isn't about waiting, it's about what you do while you wait. And that's where discipline and faith connect again. Delayed gratification ain't about doing nothing. It's about doing the right things consistently even when they don't pay off right away. It's about trusting that every sacrifice is stacking in your favor. When you choose to wait, to think before you react, to hold your energy until it's aligned with your purpose, that's not weakness, that's wisdom. That's you proving that your spirit runs your life, not your impulses. You ever heard of that study they did at UCLA, the one where they gave kids marshmallows? The researcher told each kid they could eat the marshmallow right now, or if they waited a few minutes, they'd get two instead. Most kids couldn't wait, but the ones who did, the ones who practiced patience, they followed those kids for years and found something powerful. Those same kids who could delay gratification ended up more successful in school, in relationships, even in money. That's because patience builds character. It teaches self-control, and self-control is the foundation of success. Now imagine how that applies to your own life. Every time you want to react out of emotion, every time you want to spend money you don't have just to look like you got it, every time you want to quit because results ain't coming fast enough. That's the marshmallow test in real time. Your future self is on the other side of that choice, watching you, hoping you'll wait, hoping you'll hold it down long enough to reap what you've sown. I've watched people chase instant validation and lose focus on the mission. They post every move needing to be seen, needing credit, but they forget that real builders don't need constant applause. They're too busy building. They understand that delayed gratification is how you separate legacy from hype. Hype fades, legacy compounds. When you play the long game, you start realizing you don't need to prove yourself every day. Your consistency does that for you. Think about the farmer who plants his crops. He don't dig up the soil every day just to check if something's growing. He trusts the process. He knows that what's unseen right now is still unfolding beneath the surface. That's how you got to move with your dreams. You keep watering even when it's quiet. You keep working even when nobody's watching, because one day what was hidden will start to show, and that's when people will call it overnight success. But you'll know it wasn't overnight. It was the patience, the persistence, the delayed gratification that made it possible. We're living in a time where people want results without the grind. They want wealth without wisdom, recognition without resilience. But the truth is, if you skip the journey, you can't hold the destination. You ever notice how lottery winners go broke fast? That's because they got the reward without the process. The process is what builds the mindset, the discipline, the maturity to sustain the success. That's why delayed gratification is power, because it's not just about waiting, it's about becoming while you wait. Let's make it personal. Think about your goals. Maybe you're building a business, maybe you're trying to get fit, maybe you're chasing inner peace. You're doing the work, but results are slow. The temptation to quit creeps in, that voice that says, why not just take the easy road? But that's your test. That's the moment where your faith and your flesh start wrestling again. Your flesh says, I want it now. Your faith says, I want it right. You got to decide which voice you trust more. Because what you build through patience lasts longer than anything built through pressure. The world will try to convince you that waiting means you're losing, but don't fall for that. Waiting with intention is one of the strongest moves you can make. While others rush ahead and burn out, you're stacking skills, knowledge, and character that'll carry you for life. The grind might be slow, but slow don't mean stuck. Slow means steady, and steady builds unshakable. And here's the thing, delayed gratification doesn't just apply to money or success, it applies to you. It's choosing to heal instead of jumping into something new. It's choosing to save instead of splurging. It's choosing to listen instead of react. It's choosing peace instead of validation. It's those small choices that shape who you become. Every time you delay what feels good now for what's right later, you're aligning with your higher purpose. Sometimes you'll see people pass you by, getting what you've been working toward, and it'll sting. You'll question your timing. But understand this, just because something's delayed doesn't mean it's denied. Some blessings take longer because they're being built to fit the weight of your destiny. The waiting season isn't wasted. It's molding you into the person who can carry what's coming. So when life slows down, when doors don't open right away, when your patience is tested, don't fold. Don't chase the fast route. Hold your ground. Keep watering your seed. The harvest always comes, but only for the ones who stay through the drought. We live in a world that measures success by how quick you get it, but the real ones know the longer the wait, the greater the reward, because time tests truth, and if you can stand firm when nothing's happening, when the results are invisible, that's how you prove you're built for it. So the next time your flesh tells you to rush, remind yourself, faith ain't about getting it fast. It's about getting it right. Every time you choose patience over pressure, every time you wait with purpose, you're not standing still, you're growing roots. And when the storm passes, the ones with roots still stand. That's the power of delayed gratification. It's how you turn waiting into winning. Here's the truth. Growth don't come wrapped in comfort. Your faith can't grow without resistance. You can't strengthen your spirit without struggle. Just like a muscle only grows under pressure, your purpose expands through pain. Every test, every setback, every heartbreak, it's not meant to break you, it's meant to build you. The problem is, most people run from the very thing that's trying to shape them. They pray for strength, but reject the situations that give them a chance to develop it. The flesh hates discomfort. It wants ease, it wants control, it wants escape. The flesh says, this hurts, let's quit. But your faith whispers back, stay right here. This pressure is part of your process, because that tension you feel, that's transformation in motion. You might might not see it yet, but inside, something's changing, something's shifting. You're learning patience, resilience, humility, all the things comfort could never teach you. Think about when you're in the gym. You pick up that weight and your muscle starts burning. It hurts, but if you drop it the second it gets hard, you never grow stronger. The growth happens when you push through the pain. That's life too. Every hardship is resistance training for your spirit. Every time life puts weight on your shoulders, you're being shaped for something bigger. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet came from struggle. People who had nothing but still found a way. They didn't let pain turn them bitter. They let it turn them better. When bills stacked high and money ran low, they found creativity. When doors slammed shut, they built their own. When people they loved walked away, they learned to love themselves stronger. That's faith in motion, not just believing things will get better, but becoming better while you wait. Pain will test you in ways success never will. It'll reveal who you are when nothing's going your way. Anybody can smile when life's sweet, but when you're down bad, when plans fail, when you lose people, when your back's against the wall, that's when your real character steps forward. The flesh says, it's too much. Faith says, I've come too far to quit now. And every time you choose to keep going, you grow. There's a saying that pressure bursts pipes or makes diamonds. Both start with the same pressure, but it's the structure that determines the outcome. If your foundation's weak, pressure will break you. But if you stay grounded in your purpose, that same pressure polishes you. It makes you shine. And that's what pain does. It refines you. It burns away what's fake, what's fragile, and leaves behind what's real. I've seen people lose everything and still smile, not because they liked the pain, but because they understood it had purpose. They knew that if life was stripping them down, it was only so something greater could be built in its place. They didn't fold under pressure. They evolved through it. That's the type of strength you can't fake, the type you can't buy. It's earned in the moments when nobody's clapping for you, when everything inside you says, give up, and you still decide to move forward. We all got our own weight to carry. Heartbreak, failure, loss, disappointment. And it's natural to ask, why me? But maybe the question ain't, why me? Maybe it's, what is this trying to teach me? Because pain always has a lesson. Sometimes it's teaching you patience. Sometimes it's teaching you boundaries. Sometimes it's teaching you how to depend on something deeper than yourself. If you can stop running from it and start listening to it, pain becomes a teacher, not an enemy. You ever notice how after you go through something heavy, the small stuff don't bother you the same anymore? That's growth. That's emotional maturity being built through struggle. Life toughens you up not to make you cold, but to make you solid. You start realizing that storms come to clear your path, not destroy it. Every painful experience carries a seed of wisdom, but you only get it if you stay present through the discomfort. Think about somebody chasing a dream. They start with passions. That's the easy part, but then come the obstacles. Money runs out, people doubt them, progress slows down. That's the breaking point where the flesh starts screaming, it's not working. But if they keep pushing through the frustration, that's when the breakthrough starts brewing. Every great success story is just someone who refused to give up when the pain showed up. Pain also humbles you. It reminds you that you're human, that you don't have all the control you thought you did. It teaches you empathy, because once you've been broken, you start seeing others differently. You stop judging people's scars when you've survived your own. And that humility, that compassion, that's how pain turns into purpose. The flesh wants comfort. It wants the easy road, but comfort don't build character. It just keeps you where you are. Growth requires stretching. It requires endurance. It requires moments where you question everything but still move with faith. That's the weight room for your character. Every challenge is a new set. Every setback a rep that's building your strength. You might not see the muscle forming yet, but it's happening under the surface. Sometimes pain isolates you. It puts you in a space where you feel alone, misunderstood, disconnected. But even that has a purpose. Isolation gives clarity. It strips away noise so you can hear your inner voice again. It forces you to rely on yourself, to dig deeper, to find peace in your own presence. That's where real self-trust is born, in those moments when you have no choice but to keep standing. The funny thing about pain is it never feels like a blessing while you're in it. It feels heavy, unfair, endless. But when you look back, you realize it was the turning point. You realize that if it hadn't hurt, you wouldn't have changed. That loss taught you what to value. That failure taught you how to focus. That heartbreak taught you self-worth. Every pain had a purpose, even if you couldn't see it then. I remember hearing a story about a man who lost his business. He was devastated. He felt like everything he worked for disappeared overnight. But in rebuilding, he discovered a new direction, one that aligned deeper with his purpose. Years later, he said that loss was the best thing that ever happened to him because it forced him to level up. That's what pain does when you let it. It redirects you to where you're meant to be. So when you're in those dark moments, when you feel like the world's closing in, remember, you're not breaking down, you're breaking F through. Pain is the process of old parts of you dying so stronger parts can be born. It's the fire that forges you into something unshakable. Your flesh will always tell you escape it. Distract yourself, numb yourself, run. But your faith knows better. Faith says, breathe, stand tall. This storm won't last forever, but what it builds in you will. Every trial you survive gives you new tools, new strength, new perspective. Pain don't come to destroy you, it comes to prepare you. So the next time life hits hard, don't run from it. Sit with it, learn from it, let it do its work. Because pain is proof you're growing. It's evidence that something inside you is evolving, maturing, expanding. And when you come out the other side stronger, wiser, and more grounded, you'll realize the pain didn't stop you, it shaped you. Faith moves by vision, flesh moves by emotion. That's the real dividing line between staying grounded and getting lost. Your emotions are loud. They rise and fall with every moment. They react to what's happening around you. Vision, though, vision stays still. Vision don't get shaken just because your day didn't go as planned. Vision sees beyond the moment and focuses on the mission. That's why learning to move by vision, not emotion, is one of the hardest but most powerful lessons you'll ever master. When you lead with emotion, you make temporary choices for permanent situations. Emotion says, I'm tired, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Vision says, I'll push through. My future self needs this done today. Emotion says, they disrespected me, I'm going to react. Vision says, protect your peace. Your energy's too valuable to waste on that. The difference between emotion and vision isn't what happens to you. It's how you respond when it happens. Most people never reach their full potential because they keep living from the surface level. They let emotions dictate their direction. One bad day, they give up on a dream. One heartbreak, they swear off love forever. One mistake, and they call themselves a failure. That's what happens when you move without vision. You keep restarting, resetting, second guessing because emotions don't stay still long enough to build anything real. Vision, though, that's faith in motion. It's seeing the mountain and deciding to climb it even when the path gets steep. It's trusting your preparation when fear starts whispering that you're not ready. It's moving forward when your feelings say stop. Vision don't care about mood, it cares about mission. You can't be moved by both your purpose and your emotions. One will always have to lead. Let's be real. Emotions ain't bad. They human, they real. They remind you that you're alive. But you can't let them be the driver of your life. You gotta learn to feel them, understand them, but not obey them. Because emotions come from the flesh, the part of you that wants comfort, validation, and revenge. Vision comes from faith, the part of you that wants purpose, peace, and progress. And in the hidden battle between your faith and your flesh, every moment you choose vision over emotion, you win ground that can never be taken back. I've seen too many people let emotions ruin what they prayed for. They get the opportunity they wanted, but let pride mess it up. They build a relationship, but let insecurity destroy it. They start a business, but let frustration make them quit before success shows up. That's why you gotta train your mind to see past the moment. Every time your emotions flare up, ask yourself, what will my vision do right now? That question alone can save you from decisions you'd regret later. Picture someone training for a marathon. The first few miles, they hype. Energy high, motivation strong. But around mile 15, the body starts talking, legs heavy, breath short, pain setting in. Emotion says, stop, it's too much. But vision, that image of crossing the finish line, that's what keeps them moving. And when they finally cross that line, it's not the body that got them there, it's the mindset that refused to quit. That's the power of vision. It sees the reward beyond the struggle. In this world, emotions get fed every second. Social media, gossip, negativity, it's all designed to pull at your feelings. But when you got vision, you start seeing through all that noise. You stop chasing validation and start chasing alignment. You stop trying to prove something and start trying to become something. You move different when you're led by vision. Your energy becomes intentional. You stop reacting to every little thing because not everything deserves your response. One of the hardest things to learn is how to stay calm when chaos hits. The flesh wants to explode, to defend, to clap back. But vision knows that silence can be stronger than words. Vision understands that every action comes with a consequence. And not every battle is worth your peace. When you live by vision, you stop letting people pull you off your path. You start thinking long term. You start asking, will this matter in 5 years? If not, it's not worth your reaction today. Vision demands sacrifice. You can't move by vision and still be controlled by every emotion that passes through you. You got to be willing to pause before you act, to breathe before you speak, to think before you decide. That pause, that self-control, that's where your power lies. That's how you stop repeating cycles. That's how you grow. Every person you admire, every success story you respect, they all had one thing in common. They learned to master themselves. They didn't let anger cost them opportunities. They didn't let fear stop them from taking risks. They didn't let doubt silence their faith. That's what it looks like when vision wins. It don't mean they never felt emotion. It means they didn't let emotion make the final decision. Think about this. The most dangerous decisions are the ones made in emotion. Quitting too early, saying words you can't take back, making moves out of pride, those are emotional reactions that can destroy years of progress. But when you move by vision, you start to see the bigger picture. You realize that patience is protection. That silence is strategy. That waiting is wisdom. You gotta understand, vision ain't always exciting. It's quiet, it's steady. It don't need recognition to keep moving. Emotion screams, but vision whispers. And if you wanna grow, you gotta learn to listen to the whisper. It's that small voice that tells you keep going when everything looks dark. It's that reminder that says you're not done yet. When your feelings say otherwise, that voice is your guide, your compass through chaos. When you move by vision, you start trusting divine timing. You stop forcing things to happen. You stop begging for things that aren't meant for you. Because vision gives you clarity. It tells you when to act, when to wait, and when to walk away. Emotion rushes you, but vision refines you. Emotion wants everything now, but vision knows some blessings take time to build. You ever see people who stay calm no matter what's happening? That's not luck, that's mastery. They've been through enough storms to know that reacting don't change the weather. They move by vision, not by emotion. They don't chase temporary wins, they build permanent foundations. And because of that, they rise higher than their pain, higher than their circumstances, higher than the noise around them. That's what the hidden battle between your faith and your flesh really comes down to, the ability to let your higher self lead. Emotion is easy. Vision takes strength. Emotion gives you satisfaction. Vision gives you success. Emotion gets applause, vision gets results. And if you want to build something that lasts, a legacy, a purpose, a peace that don't depend on circumstances, you got to keep choosing vision over emotion over and over again. There will always be moments where your feelings get loud, where anger, fear, doubt, or impatience start knocking on the door. But every time that happens, pause and remember, this is the test. The battle isn't out there, it's inside. And how you respond determines whether your faith wins or your flesh does. So when your emotions start rising, take a breath. Remember your vision. Move with intention, not reaction. That's how you stay grounded when life gets heavy. That's how you stay true when everything tries to pull you off course. Because at the end of the day, emotion is temporary, but your purpose is forever. And when you let vision lead, you stop surviving life and start designing it. The hidden battle between your faith and your flesh, it never really ends. But that's not a bad thing. It means you're alive, you're growing, you're becoming. Every time you choose purpose over pride, patience over pressure, and peace over impulse, you win around in that war. The victory ain't in perfection, it's in progress. So stay grounded in your faith, keep your discipline tight. And remember, the strongest ones aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who keep getting up with a clearer vision every time they do.